producers, what if I told you you could produce music for TV and actually get paid for it before it gets placed on TV? Yes, this is a real thing. In fact, it's how I make a large chunk of the money I make from sync licensing. And I'm going to share this with you and how you can do it as well. So there's like a few major ways to kind of get paid in sync licensing, right? But the one we're going to talk about today is how to get paid these upfront fees before you even get the upfront sync fees, right? So this happens during the production phase. You'll see this a lot in production music with production music libraries and things like that, where they will actually pay you money to produce the music, to be a part of an album or a project that they will then pitch to their clients in hopes that it will eventually get placed, get synced, and start generating sync fees and royalties and things like that. Now, if no one has ever told you, there is no guarantee that you will get a sync placement. Even if a publisher signs your music, they have every intent on pitching that music and it being placed. No one can guarantee you a placement. So sometimes it could be beneficial to go ahead and take some upfront sync money for you taking the time to produce the music and things like that. And that money comes in one of three ways. So the first way could be an upfront just buyout, right? Where they say, hey, we want to shoot you X amount of dollars up front. This is a buyout, which means you won't be able to participate in any further upfront sync fees if this music is synced to picture, but you will still receive back-end royalties. Now, sometimes that could be 100% of the sync fee buyout. Sometimes it could be a certain percentage to where you may still receive a percentage of upfront sync fees. Or, you could give it all up. It just depends, right? Second form could be in the form of like a consideration fee or a demo fee, right? Where they'll pay you this fee and you don't have to worry about paying it back or recouping it or whatever. It's just here. This is the fee. This is what we pay you to produce the music. And then any upfront sync fees that, we generate, you'll get this percentage and you'll also get your back end royalties, which is dope. And then the third form is in advance, right? So if they pay you X amount of dollars, this is in advance to produce this music. Once you recoup it, and you'll recoup it out of your upfront sync fees once it's actually synced to picture, then, once you recoup that amount, then we'll start to pay you your respective percentage of upfront sync fees moving forward. So this is how you can generate I'll use quick, subjectively quicker payments up front before the music even gets played, so you don't have to wait around for royalties and things like that. And a great example of this is Jason. He's a producer inside of our community Sync Producer Hub, and he actually just recently got a win. Here it says, I signed my first agreement with actual upfront sync fees, which this was more so kind of like what we were talking, not necessarily the sync fee because it hasn't gotten synced to picture yet, but this was either an advance or a consideration fee or a buyout fee. Just depends. I'm not sure exactly what that agreement looks like, but he says it's with the Canadian-based music library Hard Music. They commissioned me for 10 orchestral hip hop sports tracks at $300 per track. I'm stoked. So as you can see here, Jason was able to generate from this project $3,000 up front before the music even got placed yet. And then once that music gets placed, he's going to see more income. He's going to see back end royalties, and he's going to be able to participate in some of those other streams of income that you get when you're producing music for TV and film. And by the way, if you want to see like a financial breakdown of how you can make your first 10K in sync licensing, even if you have a full-time job, comment 10K in the comments and I'll send you a free document on how I was able to do it as well. And it looks a lot like how Jason did, man, where they paid him some upfront money. And as you can see there, like 10K is absolutely doable. He's already at 3K once he finishes that project. He's at $3,000. So imagine if you did, if he did like 3-4 albums like that for that publisher in a year, he's already hit his 10K. And this isn't even including upfront sync fees. from future sync placements. It's not including the royalties that will start to snowball, because every time a show airs that uses your music, you get paid royalties for that, and that can add up over time. And I kind of break down these different streams in that financial breakdown. So comment 10K, I'll send that to you. But this is one of the ways I've been able to generate a large portion of my income from sync is, before the music even gets placed, I'm talking to publishers, and sometimes they have budgets up front. Some publishers don't, right? They may not. It may just be, hey, we don't have anything up front, but if you produce this, as soon as we start generating sync fees, you'll participate in that, and then you'll also participate in royalties. I've done a combination of all of these types of deals, whether it's buyout, whether it's consideration/demo fees, whatever. I've done all of them, and I mean, they all work, right? But this is one of the quickest ways to see income in sync licensing if you're able to partner with some of those companies that give you that. Now, it is a process, right? It's not just, oh, boom, here's 10 tracks off of my hard drive. Here you go, use these. No, like, these tracks have to be structured a certain way. They have to meet the requirements that the publisher needs them to meet so that editors can use them and have the flexibility that they need. And that may require you to make several revisions throughout this process. I'm in the middle of a project now, and I sent my first round of tracks, and I got notes back to make revisions, right? You have to make sure you're on the right track in terms of the mood, the vibe that they're looking for. And sometimes that goes back and forth. You may have to do a few rounds of revisions, which is completely normal in this space. And that can take some time. So this isn't, again, while this is one of the quicker ways to see income in sync licensing, it's not an overnight thing. Like, Jason's not about to just get hit with 3K overnight. He has to complete the album. And then again, it depends on the agreement as well. Like, some companies may give you half upfront to start. And then the other half, they may wait until you turn in the completed project and then they'll pay you. So it depends on who you're working with. But be prepared to go back and forth, make some revisions, fine tune things. You may be responsible for mixing. Some other publishers, they'll have, in-house mixing and things like that. And then you have to create the deliverables, right? So every company has a different way that they want stems created, alternate versions created. You have to be prepared to do all of that. But I think it makes it nice to where, at least it feels good to be paid for your music and be paid for the work that you're putting in up front, to where you're not waiting over and over, like just over months and quarters to see royalties. Because, one of the biggest things in sync is, you don't necessarily see the work working when it's working. A lot of times we see things, that has gotten placed like months later, like sometimes several months later, and sometimes even longer than a year. Like, you'll see something pop up in your PRO, and it's just like, oh wow, like that got placed last year sometime. I'm just now getting paid for it. But, this is one of the ways where you can kind of see that upfront money. Now, if you don't know how to structure your music for TV and film, if you don't know how to properly reach out to these publishers who are doing deals like this, or what to say, how to present yourself, how to prepare your music, then you need to check out my community, Sync Producer Hub. The link is in the description. We teach producers how to do all of that, and then we just kind of help you along your journey so that you can land licensing deals just like Jason did. And this is a huge win for Jason. Shout out to him. And he's gotten placements before, but this was an opportunity where he was actually able to see some upfront money doing the work before it even gets placed, which I think is super dope. So congrats to Jason. And listen, the dope thing about this is that I need some water. I'm choking over here. The dope thing about this is that, once he completes his album, right, and say he starts getting placements and that album is successful for this publisher, do you think it's going to be more likely or less likely that this publisher will hit him back to do another project, right? Especially if they seen they got a lot of placements from this album. It's been successful. Their clients are loving it. It's going to be easy for Jason to reach back out and say, hey, really enjoyed working with you guys. Seeing I got, a ton of placements from this project. Would you be open to doing another one? Or I'm ready to do another one when you are. It's going to be way easier for him to start more projects with this company and generate even more income with his music, because the fact that he got his door in with his first album, and then if that album is successful, now he can put it on his calendar, like at the top of every year or top of every quarter, reach out to this publisher and start another project, work on another project, and just continue to build that relationship. And this is how you start to compound your income in sync licensing, by building these relationships and doing good work and quality work and structuring music the right way, which we show you how to do in our community. So again, if you want to see a financial breakdown of how you can get to your first 10K in sync licensing, even if you have a full-time job, comment 10K. I'll shoot you that free document so you can use that and kind of see a breakdown of how you can make money in sync licensing. And hopefully this was encouraging. Hopefully it helped you, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, peace.